Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm going to take these silhouettes, or at least one of them, and we're going to choose one of them, and we're going to show you how to bring them to a detail level, or add detail to them. So we're going to select this really quick just with the lasso tool, which if you hit L, it'll pull it up. I'm going to turn that layer off, and then create a new layer, and Control V and paste it. We're going to move it right into the center. I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit, so we're going to use this as basically a reference point. And now I'm gonna make a new layer above that and just start drawing with a basic brush. I'm using a rectangle brush with sort of a darker color. And what we're gonna focus on is the contouring of the tree. And I'm just thinking of I'm adding these spherical shapes. So this is kind of the contour that we're gonna wanna follow along with. And you could think of these as like cheat contours or something, but it kind of adds a three-dimensionality to the shape. I'm just drawing a few along here just to kind of get an idea of how the tree is bending in space. And maybe at this point it's starting to flatten out a little bit. I'm just using these sort of indicators of where the tree's growing. And you can see I'm following along the tree with more contour lines and just kind of exploring the action line of the tree. Sort of similar to character design when you have the line of action, so that one solid line that pulls through the whole character. And I want to have this tree look like it's multiple branches all spiraling together and twisting and turning. And you can see I'm adding more of those contour lines just to kind of give myself an idea of the shape of this tree. Because with the silhouette, you end up with a nice strong silhouette, but then you have to take that and push it to, to 3D looking or rendered, bring it to the next level basically. And this is one of the approaches I might use to do that. And here I was thinking maybe this branch I want to have it be one solid piece of tree trunk kind of curving up and twisting as the tree grows. And this is sort of an exploratory phase, and I want to have this so it bends kind of away from the camera, or it is bending away from the camera right now, and I actually want to have it bend towards me a little bit more. Maybe it's growing out towards the viewer instead of everything bending away from the viewer. So you can see I kind of take that ellipse that I'm drawing and just bend it the other way. This would be a good reference point when you're taking this to color or something like that, or if you want to use this technique for drawing trees or other kind of vegetation on maybe an alien planet or something like that. This is a great way to kind of add form to those silhouettes that you make. And I'm just keep pulling through these contour lines. And I'm spinning the canvas a lot just to give my hand kind of a natural form to choose from. Like if you're drawing on paper, you'll notice you kind of turn the paper a lot, so you can draw from a really comfortable place with your arm and make sure you're moving not with your wrist but with your entire arm, your elbow and your shoulder and everything. And here I'm just taking some of these branches and adding a few little contour lines to them as well, so you can see I'm kind of having it bend different directions in space. And this one I want to have it kind of bend more towards the viewer. So you can see I added those contour lines and kind of dipped them that way. And see how this flat shape's starting to become really dimensional. Things are bending and twisting in space. Perhaps maybe we'll add a branch or a trunk or a tree root coming towards us at some point here. Maybe that bottom piece. But right now I want to focus on the other side ones a little bit. And I'm seeing if I want to have maybe both of these push away from the viewer and maybe have a center one, a third one sort of come towards us. And you can see I'm just kind of exploring which direction I want these to bend and turn. So I might draw a single line or two just to kind of explore that and then continue on with the rest. And here we're having that branch kind of root grow down from that main trunk and down into the ground. And that's adding a lot more depth to our tree as well, because now it's not just like it's actually growing towards us and away and left and right. And when you're building trees, make sure you kind of add that. Make sure you're not just having a tree almost like a flat plane just growing left, right, up, and down. You want to make sure you actually go into and away from space. And just drawing a few more additional lines on the side here. And if you turn this on and off, you'll notice like the difference, how much you've added. And then you can go in and add a few little details, maybe some small branches that grew off and broke, like just little additions to the silhouette that maybe you didn't think of before. And maybe add some modifications here, like I want this branch to bend a little bit more naturally than it was before. If you look at it before, it kind of just like bent instantly. It didn't really look like it had the proper curvature to it. And just refining a few areas and filling in the rest of the contours. And maybe we'll have like you could have like another little branch sticking out here if you want to have the silhouette broken up a little bit more even than it was before. And a few details on the smaller side branches here. And maybe have that one kind of bend up towards us a little bit. That's a pretty good. Let's add a few little leaves. I want this to look a little bit like really lush, so I just want to add a few little leaves. And I usually, when I'm drawing leaves loosely like this, I'm thinking of kind of Gestalt laws of closure and things like that. Perhaps I'll make a tutorial discussing those a little bit. But you can see I'm just tossing a few floating leaves, but if you look at them as a whole, they kind of come together and look like they're attached to some things they can't quite see, maybe. When I'm drawing leaves, I have a big influence from Bill Watterson from the Calvin and Hobbes series, kind of his approach to drawing trees and leaves and things like that. So just creating these little squiggly marks and things like that, little loose leaves, and maybe a solid chunk with sort of those just like W's all over the place. And that creates a nice little feeling of leaves growing out. And you could think of these and kind of bend them and twist them in space. Here, if I was drawing a more detailed leaf, I might draw that center spine and just pull contour lines off of that. And there you have it, a tree leaf. Or you could take that center spine and make it a little bit more complicated, kind of twist and turn, something like that. Almost think of it like a Pringle, kind of that twisted, bent shape. A Pringle's a good reference if you're looking at leaves. Well, a better reference would be a leaf, but yeah. So there's some ways to approach having more detailed leaves. And you might just add in a few more little details here and there. You could take this from this point and add color behind it. You could use that silhouette shape to kind of block the color in. But yeah, we're just finishing up these little bits here and there. A few more small leaves. And yeah, if you like this video, just hit like. If you really liked it, subscribe and leave a comment. If you super duper liked it, turn notifications on when you subscribe. And I'd love to hear what everyone thought about the tutorial. It's not too in-depth, but hopefully it'll help you in your tree endeavors. And yeah, I'd love to hear from everyone. And have a wonderful day. And go draw some trees.